Okay. I believe that we are on YouTube, you guys. Thank you for joining me for another monthly Disney chat. This is always really fun and it's always good to talk to you guys. And
I
now
enjoy
I'm,
watching.
yeah, now I'm hearing myself twice, which always happens. There we go. So, hello, Melody and Joey. Welcome back for another chat. And welcome, Rick, to who's joining us as a huge friend of the show. So we're really glad to have you on camera today. Thanks for
Yeah, I'm glad
joining
to be
us.
here.
So today we're here to ask you a bunch of questions about something that you have done that a lot of Disney fans kind of fantasize about. So you actually moved to Orlando recently and you are a really big Disney World fan. So we're really, really interested to hear like how it happened and what it's like now that you're down there.
Sure. So
So
where
what go ahead.
I was gonna say, where do you want me to start? Or you
Well,
can
can
start with
I
the
say
questions.
something? I just want
Yeah.
to chime in that I literally like Monday of this week I was scrolling through Facebook and one of the groups I'm in it's Disney World hacks. I mean it is right in line with everything we talk about, and a person said they had the best hack of all, and that is sell everything you got, move to Orlando. And I thought, well, this is really appropriate considering the timing of our conversation this week. So anyway, so you actually get to tell us what that actually looks like. And why don't you
Yeah.
start with where you were and how you came to the decision to move there?
Well, we lived in West Virginia, which is a small state. We lived in between the two biggest cities, Charleston and Huntington. Neither one of them have a population over 50,000 people. Um, the metro area between the two probably has about 300,000 people, but my wife lived there her whole life, and I lived there her whole life. Because I moved there from Ohio when I was 3 or 4. So 40, 43 years we lived in the same area, two neighboring towns. And, the Disney bug bit us big time in 2017. So we were, going back and forth. Um, our best friends um, from our church moved down here in 2017 as well, um, to the area where I am now. But they left, and of course we kept in contact, and we visited. A couple times when we come down on our trips, we would meet up and visit, or they would meet us at the parks. But we were happy and content where we were. I had my job. My wife stayed at home and babysat a couple of little kids, and we had 2 kids. We had one kid in elementary school, one in middle school, and our oldest daughter was a junior in college, and our oldest son was out on his own. He had a girlfriend that he was living with, um, in his own house. So we were just plugging along, and we had talked about someday when the kids all get out of school, you know we would consider want to move down here. Um, but it wasn't anything we seriously looked at or considered or anything like that. And then I got a text message from my friend Jason who had moved down here, and he's like, "Dude, I gotta call you." And I was like, "Well, okay, call me." And he said that he was talking to someone he knew from the local Rotary Club who was an accountant, and they started talking about something, and then he was talking about me, and how we were Disney fans and came down all the time, and the guy was like, "Well, do you think you'd be interested in the job?" And my friend was like, "Well, I don't know. I'll I'll check with them. And he messaged me, and I was like, well, I mean, yeah, I'll entertain anything. And yeah, I talked to my wife, and she's like, well, yeah, that sounds like it could be kind of exciting. So, long story short, I had phone conversations with them. We flew down, my wife and I, for a 4-day weekend to do a job interview, and then they offered me the job. This is at the end of April, and they wanted me to start as soon as possible. We had decided if we were going to do it that we wanted to be down here before school started, so we wouldn't be taking our kids out in the middle of the school year.
Mm.
So we decided to move on July 1st. So we had 2 months to list our house, sell our house, sell most of our belongings, because what we originally started out with was an apartment, which was about a third the size of our house. So we had a lot of extra stuff that we just couldn't bring with us. And so we moved down here in July. I still had some work related stuff, so I would come down on the weekends and fly back and forth for 3 weeks until I got that taken care of. I mean, thankfully there were discount carriers, and I could fly back and forth for like $100.
That's good.
Yeah, that's basically how it started. We told our kids, and one of them was excited. 3 of them were devastated.
Oh.
Our son, our oldest son, called us the day after and said that they were engaged already, but they were planning on getting married this year, 24. And he was like, well, we decided to move our wedding up so you guys can come to it. And I'm like, you guys can have your wedding whenever you want. We will make sure to be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get there.
Yeah. And they're like, no, we already decided, we'll get married before you move. And
oh wow.
Basically my wife and I ended up planning most of the wedding for them.
Oh my gosh.
In the midst of all of that, because they didn't really know what they were doing. And it was crazy. So they got married the week before we moved.
Wow, that's a whirlwind.
Yeah, I mean, they had been dating for 2 years, so that part wasn't right. It was just
right,
crazy. And then the place that we booked for the wedding and is all together as a restaurant, they closed the week before the wedding.
What?
And yeah, I mean, when I got the message from the guy, I was like, are you kidding me? But he said, we're going to honor it. I guess because they still had a lease on the place, and he said, we have food. We might have to do an adjusted menu. And they have this big outside patio, and they honored the wedding, our deal. And
wow.
I mean, the food was great. I mean, they just basically cooked all kinds of food that they just had to get rid of it. And but it did end up raining, so we had to stay inside the restaurant, and it wasn't very big, rather than be out on the patio.
Oh,
but it was all good. My parents, my dad and stepmom and stepsister came down from Ohio to see it, and
cool.
One of my sisters came up from Georgia. So yeah, it was a good time. It was a nice way to kind of say goodbye.
Yeah.
Because we had a bunch of family and friends there together, rather than us having a going away party or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I started work.
Rick,
July 31st.
I got a technical question for you. Can you tip your camera, I think, down, because on the YouTube it's clipping it off and I only see the top of your head. So I think that'll work better. It's delayed, but I'll let you know. I think it's going to be okay.
Is this better?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better. Thank you. That's perfect.
Yeah, I had it on my pop socket thing.
So what a way to kind of send off your to have a send off.
Yeah, yeah. It was a whirlwind. We sold our house. We had 3 yard sales in a row, 3 weeks in a row. To get rid of furniture and clothing because we didn't need our winter clothes anymore. Um,
Right.
Not in Florida.
nope, nope, not in Florida.
Yeah, there's no
But
winter.
I mean, it was in the 50s this morning.
Oh well.
But yeah, no, we didn't need our winter coats, and I didn't need my thermal lined jeans, and you know, so we eliminated a lot of stuff, and then we moved into our apartment. Um, so yeah, that's where we started.
Cool. Okay, some reason your camera's done it again. Tip it down some more. Ha,
There
ha,
you
thank
go.
you. That's gonna solve it. That's
Yeah,
gonna
okay.
solve it.
I
Thank
had it
you.
on I had it on a
Vertical.
portal
That's
instead of
better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick.
Rick,
So-
I gotta.
Yeah, go ahead, Joey.
I just want to. So, you know, what goes through my mind is as you're preparing for this move, what's going through your? Are you thinking, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get to go to Disney World every day? Like, I can get to go on a Wednesday morning or a Saturday evening if they're having an event. I can just go. And like, what are you thinking? Like, are you making a list of all the things you've always wanted to do? Or are you just kind of going? Are you not even thinking about that? What's going through your mind as you're preparing to move to Orlando?
Yeah, my wife and youngest son, they made like a bucket list. They poured over all kinds of websites about things to do in Florida. Like Blue Springs, where the manatees are, Clearwater
Mm.
Beach, Miami, the Keys. We have a huge list of things that we still haven't even done. But they were doing that, and of course, we were already pass holders, um, because we come down 3 or 4 times a year, anyways. And our friends Jason and his wife Jessica, when we talk to them, like the cool thing about it is, you get home from work, kids get home from school, whatever, and you decide you want some ice cream. You go to Magic Kingdom and get some ice cream, or go to the beach and get some ice cream. Because they're both. It's about 40 minutes for either for the beach or for Disney World for us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so and it's just hop on the interstate and go. So and before it took us 40 minutes to get to
Town.
well, not our town, but yeah, to get to the mall, or to where the restaurants were. Like if we want to go to Outback or whatever, it was a 30 to 40 minute drive. So now we have got so much stuff within that 40 minutes that we would have just done to go to the mall.
So how often are you guys going to Disney World now?
My wife and daughters, last year, we ended up homeschooling our kids for the first year, because they had some problems adjusting. And my wife and daughters, they would go down once, twice, maybe 3 times a week while I was at work. And then we would usually go down on the weekends. Occasionally we would go in an evening. I only work half a day on Fridays most of the year.
Nice.
So, we could, just do a Friday work day.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's all. We had passes to SeaWorld, and we went there a few times. I really enjoyed it. Oh, sorry. I really enjoyed SeaWorld. My wife and kids weren't too crazy about it, so we did not renew those. We had Gatorland passes, and we went twice. No, we went once to Gatorland.
What is Gatorland?
It's a place outside of Orlando where they just have a lot of
Alligators.
gators.
Gators.
Wow.
Exactly what
Yeah.
you think.
Yeah, they have all these gator pools where they have boardwalks around them where you can look at them. They have albino gators. They have one with no tail, stuff. Um, they have other Florida creatures as well. They have a little train ride, walking path through a swamp, and they have hundreds of gators there. You can feed them. And it's not very expensive. The annual pass, I think, is only like $50.
Mm.
But we used to vacation to Myrtle Beach all the time in South Carolina, and they have a place called Alligator Adventure there, and we went there so many times over the years because we've been going to Myrtle Beach for 30 years.
Mhm.
So Gatorland's fun, but it's not somewhere that we would go often.
How about Universal? Have you guys gone back to Universal?
We've not been there yet.
Wow.
We've been here for a year and 3 months, and
Oh my
have not
gosh,
been to
you should
Universal.
go.
Yeah.
I know. The kids want to go. Emma, our youngest daughter, wanted to go to Halloween Horror Nights
Oh,
last
right.
year, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, good luck finding somebody to take you."
Are you
'Cause
worried
it's
that
not
if you
going to be me,
go,
and it's not going to be your mom.
are you
Right.
worried?
No, I
Are you
don't.
worried if you go,
I
you'll
don't-
never go back to Disney, or?
No, I don't do scary.
Oh,
No, I do not do scary stuff at all. But we were getting ready to buy passes. Universal had buy a year and get 3 months for free, and
right.
I waited a week too long for that, and it cut off. So we just haven't done it yet, but we will eventually.
So news just came out today. The new Epic Universe Park's going to open in May next year.
Yeah.
So go before then because it's going to be insane.
Oh yeah, I know. And from what I've heard, it's relatively quiet there now.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do annual passes for it. I know the tickets that they're selling, it's 3, 4, or 5 days with only one
Yeah.
day in Epic Universe. So imagine there'll be some pretty strict limitations on pass holders too, but eventually we'll get there.
Okay.
Disney's got a hold of us, so
Yeah, exactly. Did you change your annual pass type when you moved down there? You were able to get a locals pass, right?
we had the Incredipass already because we were out of state, and then Brainy and I, my wife, we renewed in August, and our 2 younger kids renewed in October 1st. And our older daughter, she moved with us, even though she was finishing college in West Virginia. She moved down with us for the summer, and we got her a pass for July. And when we renewed, we did renew with Incredipass because we wanted to be able to go over Thanksgiving break or Christmas break if
Okay.
we so choose.
Yeah.
We did go for New Year's Eve. I'm the only one that stayed all night. Everybody else ended up going to bed at like 8:30. But we getting ready. We're getting ready to renew our passes now. We let ours expire in August, just because we had so much stuff going on with the kids going to school and people coming down to visit. So we just didn't really see a lot of opportunity to go September and August. And we were planning on getting the Pirate Pass, which is no Christmas, no Thanksgiving, no holiday weekends, and maybe no spring break. I don't know. The Sorcerer Pass is only Thanksgiving and Christmas blocked out. And that's one I kind of wanted to get because where I work during the week, the holiday weekends are a nice time for me to go because,
Yeah.
I get the Monday holidays a lot of times. But our son and his wife and their baby, because our life, there's been so much in our life in the past year.
Wow.
They're coming down for the week of Thanksgiving, and they're coming down for Christmas break because she's a school teacher.
Mm.
And my wife said, "Well, we're going to have to get the credit pass again because we want to be able to go when they're here."
Yeah.
So
Right.
yes, we are eligible for other passes. No, we have not. The benefit that we get is we can make payments. We don't have to come up the whole amount up front. So
Mhm. Mhm. Huh.
So has your park going habit changed? I mean, when you had to get on
yes,
a plane and stay on property, tell me about that. How has your park going habit changed?
it has changed so much, because we will just go for, if we go in the evening, we're only there for 2 or 3 hours. Um, our friend Patrick and his family, who's on the podcast with me, when they came down for vacation, we drove down twice during the week to meet them for dinner, and we met them on a Sunday. And so a lot of the times when we come, my wife and kids, when they would go during the week, they would just go for 2 or 3 hours and do Pirates and Big Thunder Mountain and this or that, get something to eat. So a lot of our um, trips to Disney were just short trips, 2 or 3 hours, and we weren't going, full on ride commando, trying to get things done, because we can get things done whenever we want. You know, um, when Tron opened, my wife and kids were going during the week and they got their virtual queues and got in and got to ride it and stuff. But when I would go, we would book one and it would be like 4 or 5 hours out. But after 3 or 4 hours, my wife and kids were ready to go home.
Mm.
So I only just rode Tron um, in April, in May, something like that.
Hmm.
It did take me quite a while to get to ride Tron because I would always, the kids were tired and I didn't want to deal with them being cranky or anything. We would just go ahead and leave and I would cancel my queue. And then when it really hit us how different our park going was in April. We had a team with Scott and Karen Daves from the Mickey File podcast, Brandy and I, and another person named Jason Svoboda for the Main Street 16 4-part challenge. And what that is, it's a fundraiser that the Main Street Magic podcast does. And they have 4 rides selected from a hat for each park.
Wow.
And rather than trying to do it in every ride challenge, it's more doable. And Gary, who's on our podcast as well, is one of the founders. So we kind of like threw our hats in and decided to do that. And so we got there for rope drop. We got there at 7 o'clock to start at Animal Kingdom, which opened at 8 for us because we weren't staying on property. And we were in line, and we hadn't done that since I can't tell you the last time we did a rope drop. Maybe it might have been the 50th anniversary. That's the last one I
Wow.
remember doing. But and we did 4 rides in each park, and by the time we were done, we were like done. Our bodies were sore. We were so tired and barely walked. And it was like, this is not a contest for locals. I'm just telling you, because locals don't go like that.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a lot different. my Brandy's sister and her boyfriend came down in June, and we did Animal Kingdom for the day, and that was a lot more low key. So we didn't get tired, or we didn't go rope drop, and we didn't stay till close. We just went and did what we wanted to do, what they wanted to do, which is pretty much everything we got done. But yeah, I can say 100%. It changes how you go to the parks when you live nearby and go often.
Did it change which park is like your favorite park or the one that you usually go to?
It didn't for me. My favorite park is still Animal Kingdom, and when I have my druthers, that's when I would prefer to go to. Anyways, my wife and kids prefer Magic Kingdom just because there's more options of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
We do go to all the parks. Our kids have really started liking Epcot more. It used to be their least favorite part to do anything, but they are younger kids. I mean, they both enjoy Epcot, and I think Epcot's probably our youngest son's favorite place to go.
You think that's because of like Guardians or
Guardians? Yeah.
Yeah, Guardians, and they enjoy the festivals. He will go through the menus and pick out things he wants to try to eat.
I was going to ask you about that
That is
because
fun.
when you visit and you have a day in Epcot or a day and a half maybe out of a whole week that you're spending there, there's not, I mean, to do everything you want to do, it really, the real reality is it's just not that much time. Epcot is so huge, but when you live there, you can do things like not go on any of the rides and just enjoy the festival, or drink around the world, or go just eat in Morocco and then leave. Are you guys finding yourselves doing things like that?
Yeah, we'll go in and we might do. We usually, when the kids are with us, we'll try to get a Guardians virtual queue. Sometimes we'll go to, if they want to do something like an attraction, we'll do Soarin' or Spaceship Earth, or this or that. But a lot of the times at Epcot, it's Guardians and World Showcase. Because I mean, World Showcase is where it's at.
Yeah.
I know I had to meet some clients at Boardwalk. They're from another state and we're down on vacation, and they wanted to meet me at Boardwalk for a meal, and rather than parking at Boardwalk, which I could have done because I had the reservation, I parked at Epcot and went through the front gate and just walked through the park, just because I wanted to, have the feeling of walking through the park.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you.
Oh, yeah. I can
Go
go
ahead.
and not do anything but walk around. I just like taking it in.
Being there.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you about resorts and Disney Springs. You mentioned the Boardwalk. Do you just go meet friends for a meal at the Contemporary or something, or somewhere just to kind of go, or go get a Dole Whip at the Polynesian and just leave? Or is that something you guys don't do that often?
Yeah. Well, during Destination D last year, Steve and I went, and I had some other friends that were there. I met them at the Polynesian, and then we went to Splitsville and had dinner. And the friends I just spoke, my friends and clients that I met at, we went to Trattoria Al Forno. A lot of times we'll meet people at Disney Springs, just because there's so many places to eat there. But with Patrick and Amber, we went and ate at Via Napoli with them, and we went to Magic Kingdom and futzed around with them. And I mean, and if anybody ever wants to meet us, we're willing. I went to Turf Club over Christmas break at Saratoga and met some friends for dinner. Most of them were local, but well, I guess it's half local and half out of town. But yeah, it's pretty fun. We met when Patrick and Amber came down in August. We got a room at Pop Century for the night where they were,
Oh, that's fun.
and we went there and we went swimming with them the day before. They were going to the parks, and then we went to dinner at Splitsville. We don't stay at the resorts very much. They did come at, it was over Christmas time, not Christmas break, but during Disney Christmas season, and they took a day off of the parks to we did a resort hopping crawl kind of deal to see all the lobbies for Christmas. Yeah, and so we met them at gosh, I don't remember where we met them. It must have been Epcot because we did the Epcot resorts. Then we took the monorail to Magic Kingdom resorts and just went through all of them. And that's actually a lot of work too. Getting because we went to because we went to Beach Club, Boardwalk. I think we even went to Yacht Club. I don't know if they do any decorations. I went to Polynesian and Contemporary, Grand Floridian.
You're talking about Christmas time where they have the gingerbread houses and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the trees and it sounds like it's nice and easy. And it probably is easier if you just stick in one area, but where we went from the Epcot resorts over to the Magic Kingdom ones, we were worn out during that too.
Yeah, that could be in itself a pretty long night. Just going, boardwalk, Yacht and Beach, then heading over to taking the monorail, going to the Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot going on. And granted, you've got transportation between a lot of that. There's still a lot of walking.
Yeah, yeah, and there are a lot of people, of course. They actually stayed with us over that weekend. We like having company too when we can. So they did that, didn't have to pay for a resort. So it was fun having friends from home.
Yeah.
With us.
Would you say that happens more often than they come to town and stay at the park? Is it a 50-50 mix?
No, that was the only time. I think they've been down here 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, and that was the only time that they stayed with us. It was just a 4-day weekend where they flew down, but normally they stay at Pop Century because that's their favorite place. And the benefits of having the transportation and for them outweighs the savings that they would get staying with us, because also you have a 40-minute drive both ways.
Right.
But we've had a lot of family members come down and stay with us, and we would go to the parks with them for a day or two. And that's
do they rely on you for transportation? Do you pick them up at the airport? And are you the new mirrors for your family?
The Magical Express.
Yeah. We try to steer people to the Sanford Airport because we live 15 minutes away from it, as opposed to MCO, which is about 40 minutes. It's about the same to get to MCO as it is to get to Disney World for us. But we try to steer people there so we don't have to drive to Orlando to pick them up. But we'll pick people up. I don't think we've had anybody drive down to stay with us yet, but our son and his wife, they're driving down for Thanksgiving, so they won't depend on us for transportation.
Perfect. So, Rick, can we ask you about the hurricane that just came through? How did that affect
Yeah.
you guys?
Well, we've had Hurricane Debbie and Helene and Milton. All we had warnings for all three of them. And I actually got a day off of work because of Helene. Work, because expect the worst and or prepare for the worst and hope for the best is what the motto is. Down here, we didn't get anything from that. We hardly got any rain. We weren't going to evacuate because it wasn't supposed to, just skirting the coast. And we had minimal effect with that. We had minimal effect with Debbie. And then, of course, Milton, cut clear across. And, we were watching it for days, because, they're saying, oh, it's just going to be a small category 1. And then, oh my God, it's so big.
Yeah.
We were worried. I'm not going to lie. And we had a lot of family and friends back home message us and calling us and say, "Are you going to evacuate? Are you going to leave? Yeah, I'd really feel better if you leave." And we appreciate all of that. And we were all packed, ready to go, and we decided that we didn't want to go. We weren't under an evacuation order. We live in a city, so we're not out and we're not in a flood area. So we felt relatively safe. The main concern would have been tornadoes. And, we ended up staying, and, we had a lot of rain and we had a lot of wind. We never lost our power, but it flickered once, because I had to reset the clocks. But, we did pretty well. I think one of my bosses was without power for a couple of days, and they were watching where the lakes flooded here. As Lake Monroe is part of the St. Johns River, and my boss lives on that. And during Hurricane Ian, the water came up and surrounded his house. And they were without power and water for 2 weeks.
Oof.
So they were preparing for that. They didn't get quite the same amount of rise with the water, but we made it through. We woke up about every hour on the hour. Just, I guess, nerves. And our youngest son was kind of scared, and he came and stayed in our room for about 10 minutes. And then, my wife and I ended up going downstairs at 3 o'clock in the morning, turning the news on, watching the reports come in until about 4:30 or so. And then we went back to bed. And that's when it was the worst, was the wind and the rain and everything. And then we got back up about 8, 9 o'clock or whatever. And, it was rainy and a little windy, but the worst of it was gone by then.
Wow. What a night.
So we made it through our first official hurricane. Yeah.
Yeah. And that part of Florida doesn't usually get that hit like that. So hopefully this is not going to be a new thing.
Yeah. We're far enough, Central Florida, most of Central Florida is far enough inland, so it doesn't get, the storms weaken considerably before they get there. Of course, it was still pretty bad. Orlando had some localized flooding, and Davenport was without power for a few days. And we live on the east side of Orlando, in between Orlando and Daytona Beach. So it's the Atlantic storms that would be more of a worry, because we're like 30 miles from the coast here, whereas we're 120 miles from the Gulf Coast.
Right.
So,
Wow.
but
Speaking of
even with that,
what's that?
even with us being 30 miles from the Atlantic coast, I don't think they've ever had one that was more than a category 2, at least for a while in this area.
I was going to ask you, with being 30 miles from the coast, that puts you fairly close to the cruise terminal. Have you guys had any opportunities to take advantage of that? I mean, all the rest of us have to travel extensively just to get to the point where we could even begin a cruise. Melanie and I can drive 4 hours down to Galveston, but that limits our capacity to where we're going to end up on that cruise. Whereas you guys, have a lot more options if you're leaving out of Cocoa or Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're about an hour from Port Canaveral. And there's so many ports. There's Jacksonville and Canaveral and Miami and Fort Lauderdale and Tampa, Port Everglades now. But we went on a cruise in July. We went to a Royal Caribbean cruise out of Port Canaveral.
Cool.
And we do hope to, be able to, pick up. They have a lot of them will have last minute Florida resident specials, just to kind of fill the last rooms. So we look at those every now and then. We have not done it yet. Of course, now the kids are in school, so we kind of have to be careful with that. Since our youngest daughter started high school this year, and my wife and I, we've talked, and I think it'll be fun for us. For a weekend, because our oldest daughter, when she graduated, she moved down here with us. So she's living with us, and she's going to be 23. So if we would want to go somewhere by ourselves, we have somebody that will be there with the kids at night.
Nice.
They're old enough to feed themselves and take their showers and all that, but our older daughter will be there at night, so we don't have to worry about having a place for them to stay. And I really just want to go for a weekend trip to Puerto Rico, because the flights to Puerto Rico are not very expensive. And a lot of people in this area, because there's a large Puerto Rican population in Florida and Central Florida, people will just go to Puerto Rico for the weekend or trip. So that's my next goal, to do something like that with my wife.
Yeah, I didn't think about
we've never
the
been to Puerto
jumping
Rico.
off point. You have the Caribbean right there. It's close by. You got a major
the
airport. You can get
Bahamas
anywhere.
Yeah, we could. The Bahamas. If we wanted to go to Sandals or something like that, it's
Mm-hmm.
a short flight. We actually can get a flight to Key West, for not very much. Both the airports, or MCO and Sanford, they both have flights to Key West in Miami, so we wouldn't even have to drive. They opened that new train, the Bright Line.
Right.
So we could take the train to Miami. There is a local commuter train that goes from DeBary, which is its furthest east point, all the way to Orlando Airport. And there, there's the Bright Line is supposed to be going to International Drive. The Disney Springs station was supposed to be killed, but from what I've read, that there are talks for that to happen. So we could technically just go to the train station in Lake Mary and at one point in the future take the train all the way down.
Oh, that'd be so easy.
Rather than drive ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
No parking.
Yeah, and there's we we've been to an NBA game because the Orlando Magic's here,
Oh yeah.
and concert. I mean, which we could go to concerts in West Virginia too, but there are no professional sports teams. And you know, we got tickets for our son's birthday. His favorite team is Phoenix Suns, so we got tickets for that. And of course they're nosebleed, but they were only $33 a piece.
Wow. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And,
cool. You moved into a bigger city, so you have a lot of those big city, just activities and stuff.
yeah. Then there's the Camping World Stadium. They have the Pro Bowl here. They've had the Pro Bowl here the past few years.
Hmm.
So hopefully, if they do that again in February, we might try to go to that. Pink is going to be at the Pro Bowl or at the Camping World Center Stadium in November, and right now they have tickets for her concert for $25. So that's
Oh,
something that we're
what?
about doing. Yeah. And there's the Dr. Phillips Center in Orlando, which has Broadway plays. We're going to get our daughter tickets to Mamma Mia for her birthday when it's in. It's crazy. The Orlando area, Greater Orlando, has a population of 2.2 million, and the state of West Virginia has a population of 1.8 million. So it's just night and day for us.
Wow, this is like a big ad for Orlando right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would say where we live, we probably have at least, I would say, 100 restaurants within 3 or 4 miles of our house.
Wow.
Within 3 or 4 miles. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're probably not even exaggerating.
And we live in Lake Mary, which is, one of the suburbs of Orlando.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Rick. Are you
Mhm.
happy? Are you happy you did it?
Yeah. I love my job. I love the weather. I don't mind the heat. I hate the cold. I had an incident in 2013 where I think my internal thermostat got broken, and ever since then I can't tolerate the cold.
Mm.
I hate it. So a lot of people complain about the heat here. It doesn't bother me. The weather here right now is just beautiful. It's 76 degrees outside where I'm at, and the sky is almost always blue. There's so many opportunities for our kids. They're getting much more adjusted now to living here, which is good. They've accepted it. Our youngest daughter, at one point said as soon as she graduates high school, she's going back to West Virginia and doing college there. But now she talks about colleges here. Our oldest daughter, she graduated, and she decided to move here with us because she was thinking about staying there with her boyfriend. A week after they closed the college program applications for the fall semester.
No.
And that was her plan, was to do the college program. And so now she has a part-time job, but she was accepted into the college program and starting in January.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then of course she's hoping to roll that over into her permanent role.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, that's
It's
not
a little bit of a
just
commute for her, but yeah,
right. But like, that's not just because you moved down there, but it certainly helps her launch. Like, if she wants to work at Disney as her job, as her career, like here it is, right there, So that's really cool.
yeah, that's been her goal since she was 10. She was planning on doing that before we ever even talked about moving to Florida. she decided, when we came down in 2010.
So she was moving even if you guys never did. She would have
Yeah.
gone there.
Yeah, she was accepted to University of Tampa, and that's was her number one choice. She ended up going to West Virginia because she got a better deal, with her scholarships and stuff. But her goal was to, she did the college program in 22, while she was still enrolled full time. Most of the college programs students will take a semester off to do it, but she did it full time. Did the worked at festivals and all, had the time of her life. And she was planning on doing a second one when she graduated. And she ended up getting accepted when they reopened the applications. And in December, she finds out what her role is. Hopefully, it's something that she wants to do.
I think we need to have her come and talk to us. I want to hear about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can talk
Rick's
to her about
thinking
that.
on my podcast first, and then you can have her.
Yeah,
she's been on there a couple times for that. She's always happy to talk about it. She came back from the college program a totally different woman. I will say that, much more confident, sure of herself. She's choosing right now to stay with us rather than live at Flamingo Crossing. The commute, of course, is longer, but the rent's rather expensive for Flamingo Crossing. They take it out of their checks every week.
Oh,
and the food at mom and dad's house is free.
Right.
Yeah. And it was well over $200. I'm thinking it's closer to $300 that they took out each week.
Oh, yeah.
It's somewhere in between. And she won't spend that much in gas, at least right now, with the price. Prices aren't very bad. But and then her program is scheduled to end in May, and then she's wanting to do part-time, at least for a couple months, because she's got a wedding to be in August, and her grandson is turning 1 in May, and we're going up for the end of May for his birthday. And she wants to be able to do that with part-time. They can pick their shifts, so she has more flexibility. But if she's full-time, it would be much harder for her to get the time off to do both of those events. And then once the wedding's done, she gonna go for a full-time position, I believe.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I would work there myself, but the job I have now pays better.
Well, maybe for your retirement job, you're already going to be living down there now. So
yeah, that's a possibility. That's what my plan was. My plan was before. When I came down, first time we came as a family in 2010, we stayed at Port Orleans French Quarter, and my interactions with the concierge cast member were so good. I was like, I want to do that job and help people the way he helped us.
That's awesome.
And that has stuck with me since 2010. And I was like, when I retire, that's what I want to do.
You'd be great at it too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks. But for right now, I'm going to stick with accounting. So.
That's the practical choice, I guess.
Yeah. I have to work this job to, help support my Disney habit.
Exactly. All right. Well, we should let you get back to work. We've taken up your whole lunch hour.
That's all right.
Thank you so much for talking to us about this today. You're living the dream, man.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You're making all the rest of us feel like we want to move there now.
I know.
Yeah, we're jelly.
Well, yeah, you should. It's a change. I don't know what I did. It's a lot of fun. I mean, the area where we ended up, we did research, and we're renting right now because we didn't want to like commit to buying a place and not be in a town or area that we didn't want to be in. So we rented an apartment. We were there for 2 months, and we decided that the apartment wasn't going to work out. So we ended up switching to a house, which is much more our style. We have a community pool, which is directly behind our house.
Nice.
So we have the benefit of a pool, but not the upkeep of a pool.
Right.
And then, eventually, in a year or two, we're going to look and hopefully buy us a house that we like, but we really, really like the area where we're at. So it turned out pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool.
If anybody watching or listening, or any of you guys, come down, make sure to hit me up, because I'm always down to meet somebody for part-time or snacks or ice cream or dinner.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
For sure.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah,
do you want to give a quick shout out to your podcast? You mentioned it a couple times here.
Yeah. I'm a member of the Monorail Tales podcast. I've been with them for 4 or 5 years. I don't remember. It's been a while. Pre-COVID, I know that. We're actually getting ready to hit our 400th official episode.
Wow,
That's
congratulations.
We're
amazing.
actually,
Nice.
yeah, thanks. We're actually we're over 500 if you count our bonus episodes. But
Wow.
our numbering system is weird. But yeah, we have something really fun, I think, for the 98, 399, 398, 399, and 400. The numbering might be off because we have to delay it for a bit, but we have something really fun coming up. I think our listeners will enjoy it. And they can find Monorail Tales on Apple Podcasts, or just go to monorailtales.com, and all the links are there.
Awesome. Awesome. All
And
right.
I know two of you have been on the show.
That's
as a guest.
true. Yeah, both Joey and I have been on that show before.
Yep.
We
So,
can give it a thumbs up for sure.
thank you.
I highly recommend it.
Okay, we're going to say bye to YouTube now. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for our 2 people that watched that weren't Rick.
Awesome. Wow.
Yay!
We just doubled our audience.
Yeah.
Thanks. Wow, Rick's ratings gold. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
All right, we will probably not be on in November. It's just that time of year, but we'll watch my Facebook page. I'll put up a post when we're going to broadcast next, and let us know if there's something you want to hear us talk about. It's very helpful for us as well. Thanks, Melanie and Joey and Rick for joining me here on my YouTube page today. Thanks, you
It was
guys.
fun. Yeah, thanks.